Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to this class. For those who are not familiar with this Geshe community, just to briefly explain a little bit about what this is all about. It's a group of around, I think altogether around 9 Geshes, all from Eastern Tibet, and who joined Drepung Noseling Monastery. And among those are 5 who are, have the highest Geshe degree, Geshe Rangrig degree. And some of them are teaching, and others are doing more the count and other technical things. But anyway, so this group was founded by Geshe Gyaltsen, who's the head of this group, the community, and Geshe Sunam. And the idea was to provide a space for people to come together and learn about Buddha Dharma, learn about the Buddhist teachings, but also learn Tibetan language. But also some of the Geshes, their aim is to become more versed in English, for example, or other languages, to eventually be able to teach in another language. So that's why this group was formed and called Shede, which means peace, and it's all about basically to enable us to gain more peace of mind. Yeah, that's sort of it in a nutshell. Hello to everybody. I'm very happy you came here today.
Lobjon Jesat Lobshok Kundripon Loselije. Ani gained the Nugipande Japa, the Gitsri Nobinisani, Lobjon Chenguyan, that Zendrat Tunjo Lakindra water, Gishilaramba Lakia Tunjo Tangia.
So I'm to introduce myself. Geshe says I'm from Tibet, from Tango, an area in Tango in Eastern Tibet, and I joined also the Drepung Monastery and Genlaki Tsenkari.
Around Dorji. Gain Pande Chapa, gain Sri Norbu.
So these were his main teachers.
Also, and
he also, he added also that he gained the Geshe Rangrig degree, so the highest degree in Buddhist philosophy.
Tatring Otani Zendratsia Nagashi Tunsavi Jinlan Zendrachato Manasa can be Gushi Matum being Lochendo and Gomban Zendawoma Solar Lotricia and Chanson.
So after I graduated and got the Larampa Geshe degree, I had the chance to teach myself within the monastery, but and to the students in the lower classes. But so I've done that for about 10 years.
Last Tanita, Nina and the Kajur Tatandi Guni Lotricia Vinyam the Shirame.
But I don't have so much experience to teach while there's a translator sitting next to me.
Tatring so George Zayatanga so Simajum Joyatani, Kensozena so Retan Chendro, Tenji Korla, Karache Gore, Zeni, Tikol Kacheshi Sholapson. Retan Chepa. Simba Jamaica channel.
So but what today's topic is all about is about mental unhappiness, and when we feel down, mentally unwell.
That's Tani Yimbalanga so Pena Natsa Juala, Natsa Jikin the Kawayan, Hakuachini, Tikatel Mentango Yore.
And so just like it is the case when we're like physically unwell, when we're having a physical illness, we need to be aware or get to know what the specific causes are that cause this health issue and take respective medicine.
Also, 10 Asian, not so Kangi Mombo Chinchon, the Kangi on Saga Conjures Egona Poke, Nenganda, Jikinja, the country, Tenji Kashi, not so Samlochitani, Telekan Kandichi to Tenjia.
And so likewise, when we face difficulties in general, suffering and difficulties in life, we also likewise need to know the source of the problem. What the causes and conditions were that led to our difficulties.
Tani kange ta chochik ni china ta kinso na le majamba so so le tapso ta dukyur ta ndramandra kange tanji ta no panjur ta so so ta chi dopa ma khanwa panjur ta so kange chewa tanji mombo chi kumel re ta chi ba tanji yong yore.
And we can think of all sorts of problems. We are facing, say, within a community or the society that we are being bullied by others, or we might have financial issues that our wishes are not being fulfilled.
Tani tanji go chong bi kabla nga so sablo kar tango ndu se na nga so na chu korla tanji la sablo tang zerno se ni tanji sablo tang chi yore.
So from the Buddhist point of view, then what can we do? How can we think? How can we just the way of thinking? And there's a way of putting things into perspective, as it were.
Tati kinso na la kechak kentra chembo chure pena mi chi ko kolal hamgo ko yamandu zani kangin ro ti ko kambani cha mesa mi chi le tu res sonza korongo kangin tu chu yimba ka kores kecha chembo res kinso.
There's a popular example, when we think of a person in a community or in the society who is not well off, who hasn't any shoes to walk with. He might be, or they might be unhappy about that fact, of course. But at the same time, when that person then, looks around and then thinks or sees even other people who are not even, who are physically handicapped and who lack legs, then how minor is that issue of having no shoes?
Pui lo tandro vi ka yin re tani ya leka knowledge ga yin re tanji ka lu ma jamba thapso tangye mombo chi chong re ka ngi tanji mombo nya yo re ta ka ngi tanji tani to so ga semla jani ka ngi chimbo same yo mare
Semla
Ao
ka ngi
eu
jai
achei o plano de voo da raça.
bo ma chi mare.
Can you just move to person?
Sorry, can you please all mute yourself?
Saiu 2 minutos.
Die kann es Semla Shagomare. Yeah.
Lapsa.
So whether we face difficulties in society or going to school, when we go to work, workspace, we might have the experience of being bullied. We might have all sorts of negative experiences, but what we are advised to do is not to keep that in our minds.
Laso tani te karchini yo marize na nga so kinso ti na le kangi nyoni nga so kangal tuni taki na te taki sha na je nga so le kangal tupi kangi tili dupo nya ta sigil gi ba mambo chi yore nga so kangali nga so tanga mse na le so kangi che tili da mambo kali chimbo nyoni khande yore.
We can also contemplate about the fact that although we might have experienced all sorts of problems and issues in our life, but there's so many more people who have so many much more severe issues than we have had.
Ani tanji so le dupo nyonde at semle ya chunchu imbi kabli na ya le kandru katina so kangi nyonde at semle ya jadina so le kangi chirin ro among tel pento keke yo maris.
If we keep these all these memories of problems that we have faced in life in our minds, and keep on thinking about them, difficulties we had in as a child, for example, or during our working life and so forth. But yeah, if you just keep on thinking about them again and again, then that makes the whole situation only worse, and there's no benefit whatsoever.
Tanji kangi so le ya semle nya dena so keni joma ta chupa pento chika yo mari.
So there's no benefit whatsoever if we keep these things, these difficult issues in our minds. It's kind of like keeping rubbish, Geshe says, in our hearts, as it were.
Teli dote soso mtse nal chondi ni tapart deki mombo chile ore so deki so ya samlo tani pasho ko kyun so kening na je samlo ta mombo ta tinga so su te samlo jaya yin songza samlo ngoni kangi yo chonga so pa je chu ni deki chonga so ya sem trena tanda je tam chi ata sem jumman ro atin pen to kore.
So what we advise to do instead is that we should remember all the good things that we have gone through and experienced in our lives. The happy memories that we have. We should more think about those because there have been many. And so likewise we should decrease and not think about these difficult issues over and over again. But we should remember these good experiences and value them.
Sonza teni nga sol namje zona ni so sol mi jamba tso ta du jo ta tso kange tal tuna teli jamba tenji kange nyo teli du po mombo yo pa tenji le saulo tani manteni ti kor lo jonze kona ta kare se tanda zapa zrno zea ora nga so dingar te chunju ji resha teli jamba dingar chembo du sonsa nga so te semla jago mandu ma lutani yu go ndu samsam chena pento yore.
So if we, for example, had that issue of being bullied by others in our society or in a group, then we can think that there's so many people in the world who have been having much more severe issues, having been bullied by others so much more in a more severe manner, and so that's a way in a sense that we can train our minds. Because we create a lot of difficulties by the way we think, and so we can therefore think about the fact that others oftentimes are suffering or much more than we have or we are, and think that our problems are actually quite minor, and in that sense also let go of our problems. That's very beneficial to do.
Tena je pamjo achik pari tanda so leone so dopa ma kawa ta gormo manda wa ta combat so dopa ma kawa tinji mombo chi yoni so se ma ki va sem chi cha yung yore.
And in the same way, there people have all sorts of financial issues as well. Their wishes are not being met, or the money is not enough, and so that's another or these other examples of making our minds unwell, unhappy.
Tenji cheti so gan le ya tenji tai on ding oni ko so check-in ro to bondo cha de yore. So li gan ni teli ge chembo ta. Banjo chembol tana oni chake kyobondo chade yore.
When we only look up up towards those who are better off than we are, more rich and whatnot, then in comparison to them we seem to be quite poor.
Yana yang so nga so pol tape te jamu gwash. So magic tana yang so ya tombo le dewa tindi tago yore.
That's why we advise to look down on those who are not so well off as we are. Then it makes us feel we're actually quite well off.
In the
society, there are many people who, lack food, lack housing, and clothes. And then, by contemplating, these things, then makes us actually, gives us good reason to be happy. So that's why thinking along those lines makes us, rather not feeling discouraged, but rather encouraged and happy, and it's very beneficial to do so.
kangi to ma chun chun da jang la teli chimbo yo pa la teni ta so so lu jang tang ta lam ji re lo jang ta
Lo
sa lo
jang,
ta
So again, coming back to that example which we mentioned earlier, thinking that if of a person, lacking shoes is a very minor issue compared to those without limbs. So we can think about our problems and difficulties and put them into perspective, which makes them then rather seem smaller in comparison, and that's a form of training our minds.
tani nga so tani she ja tali la po chi ri ta la len go tre di ka ti na ka len che re ka she tali la po chi ri ta che ko ta ka le ka bo yo re
But of course, these things are easy to talk about. They are more difficult to put into practice.
yin na yo na ja get da le so so ta so sa lo ta ni ka ngin ra on che bi ka le tan ji le sa lo ta ya ta so so ba so che na ka le sem ba le ya jin ro ni ka ngi chong rin ro re
You can continue. So yeah, when we face any kind of difficulties and problems, we can make effort in that way to improve our minds and train our minds, and thereby decrease gradually the difficulties and problems.
ani pa ta le yo ka ngi yo ji chen chi ta chen so kon ro ton chap sa ze am du ger kam ze am du ani chi di chen so kon ro ton mom bo chi le so so sem la ma pa ni ka ngi mom bo yong yo re chap sa ta tin ji lan do pa ma ka wa chen so kon services to so gon do pa ma ka wa tin ji ni yo na so ka ngi mom bo chi yong yo re.
There are all sorts of other problems we may face, not just within the society, or with respect to politics, that things are being done which do not accord with our way of thinking, or in terms of service.
ani te kabla chen so ze ta ha chang top chim bo re nga so ti na le mbe chok ma na ji chi ma to yo ma re.
Society, in general, we can think is quite strong or powerful, whereas we are like an ant. Doma. We are like an ant.
So nga so chen so le pa tu shi ko re mo ge chen so nga so le tsu tu ro che ge yo ma re chen so na tu chop ze ya ji yo nga so chen so le pa tu nin ro ko re ma to chen so nga so do pa na jin ro ma re.
So that's why, because we are in comparison like a small ant, we have to kind of adjust to the society at large. It's not possible that whole society, function or goes the way that we wish.
Tani nga so pe na zakon le kala zan ro wi ka re lam ga le ya man ro wi ka re cha la nyon ro wi ka re tin ji chi le mi sham ba tsu na po la ro ta jab je ta ma re wan ro sing na po ani tanda pesha to pa za ro da tin ji go kor ta
Alors,
go kor ta tin ji da ma da chi ka ka lon che yo re.
and then whether we go out to eat good meal in a restaurant, or we go somewhere along a road, or go to buy things, it's very likely that sometimes that people speak harshly towards us, or we are being cheated. It happens sometimes.
Tandi kabla tani so ti kange ta so mi mambo chi ka tandi nyota kange ro chi chong song na ta to sem le nyani giri mo nyani de re.
Normally what we do is, when these things happen, we are being cheated or whatnot, then we keep those things, in our mind and remember them a lot.
Hotel teni so le phepsan che ka me ni dawa ta lo ta tandi mambo le sem le nyal so kange chang ja ma to pendo che ka me chi chong re.
But doing so, pondering about these things again and again, it only creates difficulties, maybe over months and even years. It's no benefit at all.
Teli do tenga so chen so na len jo vi kabla moni toni jab je ta rewa ta mi ya po ta tandi ta shu mo mo chi tu yo re. Mi tu na mi ya po ta po ki service ta so ta re de ni mo mo shu ya po yonde mo mo chi yo re.
But on the other hand, there are actually many good things that happen, good encounters that we have in society also.
Ina tatso lamsa je chu jak yore.
But these things, the good things that happen to us, that we forget very easily.
Teta yin sha sha re sang ne pe sha che yore sang ni tandi saul tang yore.
We often think, oh, that we take it as a given, because I'm paying, so, we expect something for it.
Ani nga tso mi jamba tandi so sol kap titi go pena jopat na mambo chi te kare ta tsama ta shi dele nama sa te zer kuch mo ni zera tandi chi ni ka cha ya po she ni to mambo te kare ma to ka cha zor po she ni tsu pa sa ni te tu ya nyon re.
In general, we often, on the whole, we come across people, who greet us friendly, saying namaste, tashdele, good morning. It's more common, to encounter people who are friendly towards us. But it's very rare in general that people speak harshly towards us.
Son za kin so ze at pa ki chani china na chu golti na yong gu chamba ze ya chi yore do china yonde ta na yonde mombo shu chi ta yore.
So in the society, it's good and important to to have that attitude of seeing others as near and dear, and rather focus on the good qualities of others.
No, tindi re ta nga so nam ja jin de le kin so lom dang zi ke de ni de so yonde sa lo ma ta ni kyun jang jang sa lo tang yore.
But generally, we don't really focus too much on good qualities, but rather concentrate on the faults.
Son za kyun de tsama rimbo che nam je so go sem le tse ja yonde tsama ke ni na je ma ja ja na ni sem kam le kang yong re.
And that's where all the mental problems come, because we keep we concentrate, focus too much on the faults of others and keep them as if they were a treasure, and on the other hand, all the good things, the good qualities, we throw away like rubbish.
Tindi che on di so we kin so lo pa tu shi go re kin so ko ya sho lo sa lo ta na so kin so ti nan de na ke po yore teli do te kin so ko kyun chang ma sa lo ta na kyon ra ni to so chang ro re so sem ba ma ke pa zo re ma pa so kin so ze ta top chen bo shi wi so ta na son je wa ta to ma re.
So we all depend on the society, and as the society is very strong, we can't change the society as such, and by focusing only on mainly on the faults of others, or on things how they run, and ignoring the good parts, that also only creates difficulties for us.
So za ta chu na chu na le shin na te le yong gu chamba zi ni pa cho le kyum ma ta ni yonde ta sa lo ta ta ji yore te na chu na so kin so ta so la mando pa ta tin ji le won di ko so le cha ma mo chi sa lo da ni ko so kyun de so sa lo ma ta na sem ko ke po chong ga tin ji sa lo ta ro chi je ye.
So that's why I'm suggesting that from the Buddhist point of view, it's good to focus on or seeing others as near and dear, and focus not too much on the false or negative sides of others, but rather on the good qualities.
Attendi chitita tandata karji kor tati parchi tindrik sar tani yang jamba ngatso kangi chesho chikta karini yungu yorizina pena pama paki pa kanjewa chokpo ta par kanjewa zasam pa kanjewa garo pa kanjewa tindri choni kangi mambo yungu yore.
So then yet another area where you can think of where problems often come about is within the family, between relatives or friends, or between a couple.
La so tindri kangi chong ka langa so nabjen tiang chipare yaksani samlo ta na so pama yenari stropo yenari to rimbol pats chikchik le ropa chia ta pen thwata yonding cha haja mambore.
So, for example, taking parents or among friends, we usually spend or have spent a long time together, where there was mutual, benefiting each other or helping each other, and where there were so many good things.
Yena yang sam lenga da yong ga dan ra wotenji kashi yong wala ti ma mambo chinga da shon ro yore.
Samsung
망치사 소소 바스 펜토아 드로파 제리 단 삼삼가다 용거로 돈다 가시.
But but sometimes, of course, there might be conflicts, where we have different opinions or whatnot.
어떤지 좀그 땡이 마시아다 싶바리 미참마 뜻 착침 보시고 쓰그래 뜻 두자시고 지지 가디나 뜻 심레장니 되그래.
But usually, when occasionally these problems between family members or friends occur, we keep that in our minds, and it's hard for us to forget these things.
손자더니 소소 파츠 펜토와다 로바트 소 야포치아가 연델 몽볼 삼네니 쪽포지나즈니 김상세나리 파마트 소 파룬제와 야폰즈텀나 아니 소소리야 sem가케 포다트니 용거레.
Whereas if we then rather think and remember these good things that happened, the mutual help and benefit between our friends and family members, and the good qualities of the others, then and the good connections, that would only be of benefit to us.
이나양 다 잠잠을 소소응원이 같이 야포치 같이 판 참보 단탄답다 아주 쉬우지 잠나에 파쇼니 들츠 두로마치와 같은지 니슬레요레 파쇼니 제 야포치로마치니 파소소 야포 같이 제나 소 야포마치니 인제 메바차 같은지 요레.
But some
만카실들 소소 야포 같이 제나 파쇼니 제마토니 고선제 메케 찬로 같은지 요레.
But of course, it also sometimes happens that however much we do from our side, to be friendly and whatnot, be helpful to the other, but there's not so much coming from the other side, from the other person, by due to which then the connection gets cut off, as it were.
anta tnji kable sona nga so na chu na le kevi tama shawa tan divi tama charzini keja chi yore kantar tamatal so ngoni ngono chishwa me par karsan jargi tuk sona ani lutanche to at kale na kechimore.
So in Buddhism, it is taught that birth eventually leads to death, and meeting eventually leads to parting. So if these occasions occur, or these situations occur, that relationships break up, as it were, or however much we try to be friendly towards the other, but somehow or another the connection is cut off, then it's good to be able to let go.
Ngaso kenso na le tenji mombo jing jewa cheso na danda lutan chi matone ni soso le kangi mombo chen tana ranso chen ni tenji mombo yungo yo sari sonsa soso go tachi ta soso tu tsana jandro ya te chunye re sani lutan che to na kangi tso mea yungo re.
Because if we are able to let go, then the more we are able to let go, the less we have difficulties.
Tenji je jentani soso ngamago tropo yimbi kapta tanjila soso la pansa deki chimbo shiuchi treto zo ya treni yapore ne mate yapore sa ma to jiman ranro ta imbare samba tanji saulo tana yakipo yore.
And if we think, even if a friendship ends, for example, we can remember the good sides, the happy, times we had together, and remembering all these good points, all the good times we had, will also increase our happiness. And this we can apply to any connection really we have with others.
Ani ti kol tanjin reche tani yang ngaso kangi chesho chikto natsa kor kangi chi yungo yore.
And then yet another area where we can think about is physical illness. That's one of the greatest difficulties we have, we can face.
Ate natsa kor ndo tanjila ngaso nang chulu kungoni china ki natsa tamare ta tanji natsa ge ken ro kashi shia yore.
And there are different there are different causes and conditions, of course, that lead to illnesses.
Ate tombo tal ngaso pena machil kangin ro che tndi sosol na chan ro de kya tndi lena te ngai ge ke yonwa to le jemre ze atal chikshe ge yore.
So the nangchutola. So that's the presentation, or from the viewpoint of Buddha Dharma. For example, in Buddhism, it is taught if someone faces a severe illness, one way to explain it is that it is due or has come about due to karma and afflictions. Due to karma, causes and effects.
Tatandin raw yena tel tapshi tatandin le jamdin raw the natso kangin raw karche horizon ngama ina le tsendal ina re so mal kangi matang tandro ta semchan ta sol kangi mombo chena tina mang so na sa ta yongu yore ze gore jambal dik yor mombo me mai ngama ta tsendal tai.
So then, with this, speaking about karma, causes and the effects, so the Buddhist perspective is that if we are facing illness, a physical problem in this life that comes about due to, or is the result of actions that we have done in the past, either in the past in this life or in the past of a previous life, in the form of having harmed other people, other sentient beings.
Tani ngatso pon raw ina tandri go kabla karche garezena ani chu jamba tan raw ta sol che an raw sol ko ndo sol che an raw ta ani chu ten jan yigyan do ya tandri go so sa to che ala teni tel na ta je wa tawshi che yore
Die Pöhlung luxury.
no pol ya yore tan chata na chu ro tan chi.
So and then what in Buddhism what is being taught, or which has always been a custom also to do in Tibet, to counteract then sickness. It is taught that it's good to create merit in the form of generosity, practicing generosity, or doing animal liberation, or the sentient lutanga. Or for example, reciting the Vajrasattva mantra. So these are examples of means by which we can purify negative karma that we have created in the past. Then another cause which is being taught in Buddhism of illnesses are ghosts or non-human beings. And then what Buddhism teaches in this regard, when we are being harmed by non-human beings, spirit beings, for example, then lamas can say certain mantras or perform certain rituals or pujas in order to eliminate the harm. Yeah. Shall I share a story of my own experience? I went to Tibet in 2010. I went to a family to visit a family, and there was a daughter in the family who, whatever she was eating or whatever medicine she would take, she would kind of spit it out again immediately.
Ani ngatsol gomba na le so trapa kashi ropa shoze ngatso ni mandroni yakane mandroni ngatso ropa tendri miji koso sa jafte chekandro ya
ale koshi shamba
ngatso ropa ji miji trabashi koso na jafte chekandro ya.
And then a group of us monks went to that family to do puja.
Tani ngatso chitro chitse ngapan ro ma to koso na le ma so ni ngatso mela se ya chi yori tata chitse gopas partando ya. Gonda chitse ngapa ro chini chitse guba par sink chitse guba par mela tendo ye.
So what they did from 5 in the evening till about 9, they did a medicine Buddha puja.
Ani gonda tel ropa ni tan korni na lo so ngani ko sa de.
I know. My friends went back home, or back to the monastery, but I stayed in that family.
Jokunga to ko sa jorcha donde acha kala za to me za to ndu chi akyu kumundu.
And then the next morning, it seems that the daughter of that family was then able to eat again and have a medicine and wouldn't spit it out again.
Ati japte ge reasoning e tha cheni she to mari tang musangaro masena logi tani chi chonyo.
I can't for sure say that the puja, helped, eliminate that problem that she had, but that was my experience.
Atani chigre.
And komi ma imbe kangal.
Ta tenga chutani do ngon do chege yor. Japte do chetani.
Just checking, but so the general opinion was that this girl in the family was kind of possessed or was harmed by a non-human spirit being, it seems.
Ani tanda national sheja natsa yong ge chen chi tanda tseruk bag shewa najarin joan kam manyam bala tini natsa yore ze yore.
And another way of explaining illnesses in Buddhism is very much in line also with the scientists, is that they say that there is an imbalance of the elements in the body that creates problems, health problems.
Tenji chonan menkang ju gore.
And then
And
then of course there's no other way oftentimes to just go to a hospital and see medical advice.
So so namgen nachu nalan roton na jamba chigla tenji machig natsan ro chong kang he chena menkang na chagre la ya mo chi ya ja likso yore.
Then we within Buddhism there's of course we do go to hospitals, but there's also what we do among the Tibetans is to ask for divination.
Atani monri chi jani mengang kawa yakandu rada solundro na yakandu ani puja karche go undu to thama chi chu karche go undu to thama chi mo ta che che.
Yeah, so the Tibetans oftentimes then go to a Lama to ask for more, what they say, more divination, and then they ask which hospital they're supposed to go to, or which puja they are supposed to do.
Tani ta tenji che on de popa mombo tani kirtan mo ze ya te yansen ro chi yore me mombo ye che che mari tingo kortan ya chala re ze yore.
Many Tibetan people have this strong belief in Moors, in these divinations, and but other people, they say it's not true.
Yana ya telen jirtang nyamnyo che ni pandro de ya chi na te sang nafshi ta ke kang charban ba mamba ze ya to chipan chi yore.
But it's Moors or divination is sort of like something like the weather forecast.
Sometimes
they're false, but sometimes they can predict things quite well.
Mi jamba chigrea ge mo jamni ti sa mo ja ka lere chi mo ja ka yon ayoro ami chi ge sal mo ja ka ndore mo jamni chi sal.
But anyway, so he says Geshe says in general, Tibetans on the whole have strong belief.
Ni kan répondre pare mo jamni am répondre pare jam khete an répondre pare.
But generally, there's a strong belief among Tibetans, in these divinations. And then Geshe says there's now an account of two monks, both from Drepung. One was going to the other, asking for a divination.
The more jam ketel ko pok nani kaparle ni ko sonal kangin ro chegundu mo chi jakwan ro shola nduze.
So one of them who was going to request them, or he got a phone call apparently from home asking, or having been asked to go for a divination.
And that more jam drawing trabat to Pomoli chem in Rondo Shatachomas on the Mukinania Kumacha Latini Condroy Landu.
Gonda, qui peut
Ponia Caperleni Moja Candrosha.
Okay, so that the monk who got the request from his family back home to go for a divination, he himself didn't believe in the divination.
Yanakom Mochi Jani Moja Mitala. Mochi Japike, Moja Mitila Lula no Shala and Duze. Lu Hagwa had a Lu. Or Lula no Shala and Duze Moja. Lu Channel there, not so lose the actual. Tell no Pate Shala and Duze. Joso
Mo lama sigido.
Mo lama tingte lagdu se.
Nangmi di
Mo jap
number-
sara nami te lula no patesha lagdu.
So then the Lama doing the divination said, the family who requested this divination, they were having some difficulties, and there's this Mo Lama, or the Lama doing the divination, was then telling this monk requesting the divination that the family was having some problems with nagas, these snake beings.
다 루트 네사트 고초은 칸바 파쇼 공올라 침묵하고 요 쳇던 거 동보 용사 침묵질 그나는도 랑도
So the Lama doing the divination was saying that the family was living fairly close to a spring, of water, a water spring where there were Naga beings.
저렇소 이나 저렇소 하모고야 치면도 랑도 진 칸바데 저렇소 저지가 걸런도 저게들이 람가 사사가 랑가 준도 텔리 치문도 치문고리 신신동 치무 진도 랑도
신도 전부
치문다 따자네 하고도 치문 강들 신신동 치무 진도 랑도
아니 뭐 강바 건스
칸바 파 타뇨 모자미 딜라브레타
Yeah, so this Lama doing the divination is telling then that the family's house was fairly close to this water spring, and near there was a tree.
ताती मोजावी ngонsa cheshon raw ta karresi na kochon khamba kawa yo ta tel langa yo me ta tel chimug yo me ta tel shindo yo me za ta mojami ti tsawani ni hako yo mare.
Although this Lama doing the divination didn't literally have any idea of the place where this family lived, but still he was able to clearly describe, your house is there, and the water spring is there, and the tree is there.
Also beti lomba nga so me jami tel shariyin na ko navre ko ni yertal beti le manyong ke me chike telati trabat ko teni mol ye che song lang ni ko lang.
So then, as their dwelling places, as well as the master doing the divination and the family, they were totally unrelated. He couldn't have possibly any idea of their home and the surrounding. But because he was able to clearly describe the place, the monk who was requesting the divination, he then had all of a sudden great belief in divination.
Ani ngaso namje natsandra na tenji kable yang memba to yin bariti gon monra yang chura che tenji chena pento yo sapachi resini ti kol sujaya.
Anyway, so this is to say that when we face illnesses, then of course it's beneficial to go to see a doctor, but also from among Tibetans it's also believed that going for divinations is helpful.
Tatani dawre tani ngaso chenso na la kangi karan rachin chena ngaso tali kangi chembol tini so kangi chunchu imba sablo ta ke chembore.
And so whatever difficulties we face, in society, we should, put it in perspective, thinking that so many other beings are suffering so much more than we do, and that our, problems and issues we have are actually fairly minor. And that's very important.
Te karacheni che gore ngaso kangi che te chunchu sablo tango ya karare kangi rewa ngaso te sablo tango rewa samne ngaso chwa yon segere.
But still, there might be doubts. Why should we think this way? Why should we think that we have only minor issues, minor problems?
Te ngaso semba ke po yon ya tapshi lendal semjong go ke she ge yora semjong shi on di so ke cha ke po semba ke po yon ga tabla kwansho ni rana ti sho la sablo tango re ma to jamba sablo tango ayo mare ticho. So that's the way, really. I mean, if you think along those lines, that's the method to achieve a more happy life, and this is the way to train our minds. Otani dawre tani chi semkam ngaso chipo ma chwa zya da namje semkam chipo ma chwa zya da sama ta kangi tindi changna yongore ma kamba ta lakpa ta ngon raw tindi yong ya shira isa mari semma chwa tindi na le yong yo sare.
When we feel unhappy, oftentimes we have this feeling of uneasiness here in the center of the chest.
Aniti korle gom draw ja ti jwaya.
So I would like to share some way of how to meditate.
Tani ngaso tindi go semban raw ma chwa kangi shu chi ti lolu ma den ni chetani chulu ke chena tato ze ze an raw tindi ta yo ngaso chu gnal. Tato ze ze ri ta tato zi lam yerma shi nan aso ndi saulo tani nasat kawayo tsiadre.
So then, when we can do some meditation, where we relax or sit in a relaxed position, and then and then we search for that feeling, this uneasy, unhappy kind of feeling. We search for it.
The Kali Kabochi Saulo Tango Mariso Zupo. That's it. So she rang out Papare, Share, Chare, Tiniti, Nal, Baning, the Lord, so Retini Pati, Nolian, Timra, Mombo Chapon, Momboshi, and the Tinji so Saulo Kankate, Tuptup Kawashi, Shoriona, Samni Saulo Tinal at the show. Pa Saulo Tani Nasa the Kawashi, Sanipa Saulo Tikatujan in German Dramache.
We don't have to, think, make it complicated. But we can investigate and think, about the parts of our body, and we try to get a sense of this feeling, where this feeling of uneasiness is in the body.
Otenji taso so saulo kase tanto to chiti nal taz saulo chakpo chmare so tinal kar yoriti katka shayore papa or tinal zenja manda chop de or to zet son korcho kandi chego na su te teli jamba chego mare sems dawag chetre sems duach sem jamandal chemach ni dua sems dua akoso.
So we can think of all the different body parts we are having, all this, the blood, we have the heart, the organs, all the various parts in the body, and kind of focus our minds inwards on that, and not think about all sorts of things outside.
Tini chunda ochena tindi saulo tandi mukpal lak jan ro ta tindi ayorta so kangai chong kap tindi le jane mukpat anda saulo gomja mukpal musiki yapo gwa chi o mar tindi so tanda so sema lo jen ro tindi pen to yomundu tanda ma ti gomja kabla mukpat ta saulo tansa yapo chi goe mi pa yo mare tanda ta chen yapo chi marwa tindi saulo tandi na mukpat chi land ro ta tindi marwa na tindi goa yo mare.
So when we do this form of kind of meditation, we don't need a particular, object of, of a deity or anything. That's not what we need here. It's just very simple, focusing here.
Tindi saulo tandi na pento yon yon ro tindi resha solan ro par makiwa chi ora. Tindi kablas lolo chini ani jirimbo saulo ma par shi makiwa china sha yang chepon ro chona mantan chini nyama la so kan top chi atsikshik chembo ja yo mare.
So soglumba dikap so lolo de.
Lo ma tindi gom ro jamna kan top chi so chi yang kali ka ona ja gore.
So sometimes we have what the Tibetans call lung, right? This hypertension, this anxiety. Then it's good to relax, and but we do that for a while, but we don't have to do it. We don't have to make a lot of effort or do it, for extensive long periods. We just do it for a short while and relax.
Ani tindi ditso ton so kate to che tani nyama mambo pa din tani kate che to na so semle yo ala tisho pe to koyore.
So if you do this kind of relaxation, this looking inwards, this kind of meditation for a short bit, again and again over a longer period, a little longer, day by day, repeatedly, consistently, that will have a very soothing, relaxing effect on us.
Laso tani ta ngaru tensin ro jiandr tani tani kyoso jamba samsa kanchi na samsa jenga so pashi she tani chenan kindu.
So that's sort of what I wanted to share with you, but if you have other thoughts, please feel free to share, or if you have any questions. Please say.
So samsa kariyo nanjikore so mateno le kangin cha kar johnson te so nga so chi saulo tantan she andu ta choro tindi kariyo nanjikre.
Yes, please feel free to share what you think, what your thoughts are, any issues, difficulties you've had or you're facing in life.
I have a question about what he said, because there is this thought in the West that the pain we feel is not on an objective level. So even if my situation isn't as bad as his situation, for example, I might still feel a deeper pain. But what he says is like, oh, look at the others that have more pain than you. How would that work?
Although your pain is less than the other
Like,
person's
it's
pain.
not an objective level how much pain we have.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
even
yeah,
if
yeah,
my
yeah,
issues
yeah.
are not as strong, I might like feel it way more deeply and get more depressed and take it more personally than the other person that might have like way bigger issues than me.
Ko si se na di geshe ke so wa dan de ba yu de. Ko kisi ko dong nyun os nyun yona yang. Da dong sorba dukcha shu shi lap sigaro. Dishemba tikchana dong chewa yu de ne kwanso dong nyua yu de. Sem ki kan ra ko dong kasa
Kangin zhao nyong nyong si.
nyua yona yang sem ki kan mangwa yu de. Shit what to do about that is your question.
Yeah, what's a Buddhist view about it? Because then just thinking like, oh, this person has more suffering than me doesn't help because my pain is still bigger.
Ko sigiru sana ko mishamba ki dong nyungwa yona yang ini dadong sem ki kang shubo yure.
Tanda kangin jagandu tindi laki mundu se gora. Sosol kangin yang jo leng du se gora.
Kang nyota chungchu yina yang ini sem ki kang chenbo yu.
La so tan te taki shi jua na je sablo tan tan chi re samdu. Ngal chi mandwa che ja to shu chi dik chimbo chi sablo tang ge yores. Mi jamba solo tonda chu chu chi chena ya. Azo ngal tambo che ma son samni tsukpa shu chi za ge yores.
Gona
Mi jamba solo na po chi chena ngal dik po shu chi tan son samni so so ut chimbo zo yong yores.
kisi mishamba.
소소 강에 또 도디나 소소 강에 또 소소야 첨보조. 첨보조요나. 파쇼코 강에 또 총리단 소소 강에 또 첨보조니 다치 저노제아다. 미 잠바 강에 첨보들 티닝아 또 춘주레 마사니 니트 첨보 잠바 참마테 시라 첨보요지 마리사니 소소 강에 또 야셈을 몸보 거데아드레스. 도디나 소소 강에 셈을 몸보 거차니레스.
So kem samlo tanat.
Samlo tanat kangi changjang samlo tani pasho ko matseli choli ngacho matseli kibo mombo chingu yora. Tatso samlo ma tana. Tatso sam tani kangi samlo katin kogre matsamar. Te matse kibo yongwa ge shol samlo ma tana tanda kangi te jiwa tapshin du emdu tenji nyamnyo sana. Retro so.
Ja, so haku so die so samlok tang di la tennis su kang chiru chagyo.
Takishia na jere takeni jwa na je chandu so kangi kyang samlo tani kipo chwa ta samlo tang yo mari. Ma ta na kangi chirin rogres. Nabje kangi chwa ta so le tes mbaso chini takishia le sheli larita joya ta kali kapo yores ya na je tes ta kali kapo re ta geden le gerimbol mbaso chini ani kangi ta so keme atndi chayo sares. Matanda geg nam tar ta chijuna.
Genki.
Gay log nam tart.
Genki.
Gay log nam tart taking in your nge chishimba. Kangi shuchi nyans on the
Allo
Gagazam. No. Cotenji sablo chitang the Kasi du Ponyana. Mandro tendu samlo in Jawatan yo patanga so dem panche or in Jawatan tomato the sosori. Teach you shoot. Nam Hako Jan Jembandua.
Yeah.
Teach you. Teach you.
I mean, what Geshe says is main. I mean, it's you know the way we think is crucial. You know, because of our way we think, we create all the difficulties or make difficulties we have much bigger than they actually are, and we don't think about the good parts or good things that we have, and rather throw them away like rubbish, as Geshe says earlier also. I mean, naturally, of course, it's easy to say these things, but more difficult to do. But there is a way, to, if you make effort and try our best, to change our way of thinking, we can gradually decrease our difficulties and change our minds. And there's a story Geshe shared earlier with me there, of a monk who was really badly tortured by the Chinese. Over really an extensive period of time, and of course, he was, feeling suffering and all. But eventually, I think some other monk friends came along and they talked to him, and it said, well, think about all the beings in the hell realms or the hungry ghost realms. Your suffering in comparison is much, much less. And so he took that to heart and always had to remember these words. And although he was undergoing major, torture, nevertheless, he put it into perspective, thinking about the severe, immense, unthinkable suffering of the lower realms, the hell beings and the hungry ghosts. And then that made him kind of bear it, as it were. So this is all to say that we have the potential to change, our minds gradually when we make a lot of effort. A lot of effort.
The land the current rose and that's on Basso China, Joan Roy, and I get the Sabon Song Korean, Basso Chimatona, Chitunrel Tiayomar.
Yeah, so that's what I just said. If we make effort, we can do it, like the monk did, Some other questions, doubts, thoughts?
How can you deal with the fear that is coming up? Like, let's say we get harmed. He had the example that we get cheated by someone. That usually brings up some kind of fear that this happens again. And I think that's one of the reasons why we hold it so strongly in our mind, because we try to be protective from these things that it doesn't happen again. How to deal with this?
This no la yang so na samsang at mishe manga zu goko tangere nutsi chigere di kola samlok tang di la tene na zu shinang kigero ani dene ya samlok dene nangshin yake yange dengyore nga zu mishe ba goko tang ya gogyo marwa nutsi gogyo mare ine nga zu shinang chigere ha nutsi yake gogyo de khare chigere di shinang di me paso tanda
taki Lenjuatri, Kinsol, Yondeta, Kitoni Kinsolzia, the Gasha Dunchus, the Yawayori, Dukayo Mari. And Gasha Sunchus, the Dukayori, Tinjika, Kita Sapari, the Kich and Kinsol, the opportunity, Tinjo Maris and the Soso Lodia, Natsunam Jinchikan Rotina, Chikeo Marisan and Rote Orita, Kalandro Majinikan and Chesi Oritati, Natsun go to Achio Marimuki, and Kinsol, the Dukayo Maris and Kinsol Yonda. Yeton the Yondi Tanani, Namtra Mea Chagare. So now the thing I'm trying to do, I could not the Yichi Yonira. So now it's Leon the Lolo Chandrondo. This was an all Yichi, now the Yapochi your son. The teachings of the Yapochi your son, the Tanaji can eat and chair Mari.
So, as I said, we can think that, on the whole, in general, say society is, say, 70% good, or there are 70% good things that happen, and only like a minor part, like 30% is maybe sometimes a bit tricky. Of course, there are sometimes issues. It's possible that some things come up, but yeah, it's good to try at least to let go of the negative ways of thinking which create all these fear, right? These fears, having this attitude of wherever we go, it will be all right. Sometimes we might have some issues, there might be some problems, but on the whole we should focus on the positive side, thinking like this, that will make our minds more relaxed, and that will also decrease the fear. And if we have that positive attitude, it all depends on the attitude. Oftentimes, then we will be all right if we have that positive outlook.
That's
I have a question, like, there are like emotions, fear, guilt. Are these like, I don't know what to say, are positive? Like, are there positive emotions?
Fear and guilt. So.
Fear, guilt. Like fear sometimes like protecting, like it's like for the safety. Like we got fear emotion just because of the safety of someone.
Die 서울과 약보유나 메나 가서 삼성가 양 나수 셈라 신앙 기규래 나수 수소랑 숨겹기야 지도 세상 soba chicha yakpo yore, shinang yakpo yore.
Kechat Ponchembo, Natsonabia, Zerik to Sowishan to control the and Dochal there to Natso Sonkyo Chia, Chalari, to Mepas or your Mare, then it and the share your Sarity, now Jenon that Tozon that the Sochiat, so the Sonkyo Chia, Chalachis, that so now Meta your Maris your Sarwa. Yena, to so Kang in Cheviona? Serman Roaching Matona, the whole Zuxana, might be ramping Roaching Mari. To cook any check Chalachi Chalsana? Kasi Kalichi Mena, the Shajan and Gosh. So Tijan on that so Kalichi and way. Kalichi unit the Mepazoja. Kali Jambachi Yungu is in Kali Jambachi Nyani did in a Chibamari. La Pachesaris and the Kambachini did, and that the Kalichi Yorwa. Jenot so Kanichi Yorwa. Tajima Yomi Hako Mari Katukan it Mepazojana Yamari, yes. Hurry. What's his one? Nazo Jenakia that so Nason Chegre is a wara. Son Chegren do Kanicheng do this so good Tamiaris. Kanichegun and Mepazoari, Kanimachin and the Jan and Gores. Tandon that.
We need to investigate this, for ourselves. I mean, this is very much in line with what the scientists also say, that, all these emotions of fear, anger, and so forth are good. We need them. We shouldn't ignore them. I mean, we should not ignore them. They're good for, protection, whatnot. But this is what we need to investigate for ourselves. If we have fear and anger, whatnot, are these emotions really helpful for us? Are they good for us? Are they beneficial for us? If that's the case, then we can, of course, leave them and, but if they are harmful, like thorns, as it were, then of course they're not good emotions and need to be worked with. But yeah, that needs to be investigated by us, if fear and anger and whatnot are harmful or rather beneficial.
We need to find the cause. We need to find the cause of these emotions, by their coming. The guilt is the same. When we make mistakes, then we feel guilt.
Guilt or regret is another.
Guilt, I think.
Guilt. I don't know how to say guilt. Is a very heavy word. Regret. You don't mean regret, right? I mean, if we make a mistake, we can regret it, right?
There is an emotion of, I think, regret. That's the
similar to guilt, right?
That's also like this is also positive, that we had made some mistake. That's why we are facing this emotion.
Koyang singil sana.
It's the realizing of our mistakes.
Yeah. Nyomong digi gu kari dami di haku go sare. Dang ngatu sam leka dukja notul chiba ina then kiba gu
kind.
Mari ha dukja gyopa diki gora. Di apoyo na ma yumare.
Tate Nachuichen and Yopa Zeatala Nijar. So Leka Dukcha Chichen Italian Yopa Chena, Yaborela. Yani Leka Yapo Chichen Italian Yopa Chena Ducarilla.
Yeah. And what regret is concerned, from the Buddhist point of view, where there are two types. If we say do something good, right, we do good action, positive action, virtues, and regret that, then actually it becomes non-virtue. But but if you do make a mistake, that like you mentioned, and we regret, having harmed someone or made any form of mistake, and regret that, then it becomes virtue.
Shasa Kali Kasai. Make it on Kali Kasai.
Are you kind of tired?
If it is harming, if you did make mistakes and it is harming, then it's virtue.
If you didn't make a mistake and but it's harmful,
it harms the other, then is it virtue? Like,
it's not a mistake but harmful to others.
It is a mistake.
It is if you made a mistake and it's harmful to others,
then eventually harm others.
Yeah, but if you regret it, then it's okay. I mean, then it's kind of purified. Kon notul chibaina. And the notula tene mi shamba nutse.
Noten rogre.
In a digijela cuba kesona.
Or Tangato Leka Chichen, Nonse Chichena, telling Yopakia Tingichen, Drew Normandusan in Yopakia Yoro. ne ndrumandu samni
Ding no, re.
te yina yak bores
Dene migi wele dandabo di mepa dik dak tu gro.
magewili mepa chandro greve zembe
Ne nga se do. Nga tana dengi do. Kasi ko migi wele che. Di la tene mi shamba ne che. Dene yene je la ku ba ki.
joba chena yak pot sigri te na
Yene thokma migi wele la di dak tu gre. Kibala.
ten daya rans shegyo mare
Allez.
daya le yon jamba chu so so job yon ma chen ndang ro ta ina tu yak pot sigyo ko
But yeah, so if you make a mistake, if you do something negative, by which
No,
someone
but intention, like initial intention is right, but there is a mistake, then
or intention, you have a good intention,
yeah.
but make a mistake and then harm someone. And okay. Ine konsigiru sa kundong zambo ye. Ine notu dadon notu che ba yin di la tene mission ba ne che.
ta na chu ge du ke chani she na karno yak pot karno de yak pot jigre de ona du ba za ta shita she mar ina ko non chu yong re non chu yong de sem chen jamba la kan ni che ta yong ayem bar nge karno yak pot ji kini mal du potana re karno du cha ji tani mal du pa sho kan ni ta chi ba che gro ina karno ke chani she na du ba za ta ra men yo chi yor
Tu po rang mi do.
dukpa maingye ina ati che na ndrindriga marwa ko dukpa zayat ngaro che ta chenjo chirang inda che ko samni che leka dukcha che ala dukpa zini nachu dukpa zayat nichil wanza che yor kalon goya che yor kalon yakbo yo na dukpa maing bandro che yor
Yeah. Tangan kare na ya.
leka kar che na dukpa chi che wala chi sena se go samni sena dukpa rin yor se samare ko menchun ro che samni leka chinik pashot se shashor zona te dukpa maing bandro che
I mean, if you have a good intention, but then make a mistake. I mean, or if you have a bad intention and harm someone else. Yeah, regardless of your intention, you make you do a certain action by which someone else is harmed, and the harm to the person is the same, right? But if you have a good intention and you make a mistake by which someone else is harmed, but it's not really negative as such. It's not non-virtue as such. Although you still harm someone, but because of you're having a good intention.
Yeah, from one's perspective, it is good action, but from others' perspective, that's bad.
I mean, it's not a good action per se, but it's not. You can't really say it's you can't say it's a good, but it's not a bad action either because you have good intention. Leka dukcha, yeah, Geshe Rangrig, leka dukcha rang min do, kan kun long zampo yona, ra, not to chiva ina ya, and mi shamba se na nuti.
na chu ga na ni she na te ge tu ni ga na dukpa zya te kalon zambo yin na dukpa zya te ro mar son za te le nga chu gemre na me she de na mung de zya jima ni pa te yong yo sa mar ina da bun de zya ro ya jima te le kan ni chong ha kalite rewa yang jamba yuwa tata so rewa mambo chik chabar chini she yore chik yo yore yana ko dukpa zaya ka thanye to ko tobu yuwa mare dukpa ta gewa zaya yuwa
Ani namin ki debo?
yuwa parche yuwa mare namin ki debo la kolongo
okay, so yeah, he says it's not like a non-virtue, really negativity as such, negative action as such because of your positive motivation, and it wouldn't have a negative result. Because normally when we have bad intention and harm someone, that's a negative action, right? There is a negative action because of our intention, and that will definitely have a negative result for us. But if you have a positive action, intention, it will not, even though we then make a mistake by which someone else is harmed, but it doesn't really have a negative effect on us because of our intention, motivation. But it's very deep. Karma is a big subject.
Yeah, but to others it is negative result.
Well, yeah,
Final result is negative.
The harm to the being is the same, right? I mean,
from their perspective, it is a negative.
Experience of a negative result. Yeah, Mishemba di tanda chipa petan chipa semchin chemba susu kunong ya kari yana Mishemba nepache ani kunong zampo da dukja rang dikpa rang mindu yana yang semchin kangzak
Kanzo
Kurang
kange chikpa.
nötse yoro.
Nötse.
Ani di kurang suki migewele kide borwa.
Soso namende yo.
Di semche nötse che.
No tsel che satana kange chikpare.
Yeah, she's in kanga chikpa ni kurang suki migewele kide borwa.
Chenge tirawa.
Nyong papo.
Namen zeta tes kapo mando tai.
Ngarang kunong karina. Kunong latene mishemba
No pacherawa.
ne pache. Ani semchen ki migewele kide bo marwe. Konso nötse.
Te
Kanga jung sona.
te kange te chitani te junten zeta sholon ro mando. Junten tan jiwa nga tsa xia yo dang zhe junten jin zhe namen jin zhe zhavin
Yeah,
zhe
yeah, guntu gizi.
pache junten gen zhe kong zhe qing zhe zhe kama zhe jima kange zhe nyuwa de. Ta tsu zhe chen zhe kali tesen doa. Junten zhe. Ta yang gombo le zhe ke zai che sa le mbu chik se ni te namen gen zhe nyuwa re se ni yang xia chik yo re. Ke samya de zai che sam ro. Zai, ga se kong zhe ra.
Yeah, yeah.
Te ti nyam de mbu se ra. Te namen gen zhe nyuwa re se ni xia chik yo re.
Bu ki nang kite bo.
Ten but se ala ten jima gobolo jo
Ale ya
mi
di
che ka
ya
ta ke
re
che
re
ja
re.
re oh ten ri lo ju yo re oh chi na me le na me shi ko nyo ai
Ya yene di danjawa tung mindo.
tan ni cho ta go ma se sa
Ngarang kunong zampo tene ra kong ne tse kong dong nyong yo ra kong na nga kong shuba ina.
ko ka ne ta ka ni on re zembe
Re ya kong
oh
ki
ko ngi ta korum go yon korum go jambal ten di kyor tan ra man ra che wa te la ten cho
yeah, di shi sa di la yeah so little misunderstanding, but yeah, they just confirmed it. Yeah, so if you know with a good intention harm someone by doing a mistake, but that person feels the harm, right? But that's the harm that being or person experiences is the result of a negative karma that person created in the past. Yeah.
Shungonji le chena koru ma gem re ren cheki ken chena to shunyi ti che yo re tele ji ken ni tsawa la ten yu yo re
Yeah, so it's the karma, the main cause of that harm that person experiences.
yu ni yo re
Gyudang Ken.
je chu to korum gu na me re je chu to nge shu go ra
Yeah, di
nge shu
ken.
kin se
Yeah. So the main cause of that harm that person experiences is the karma that being at some point in time in the past created. So that's the main cause. But then the condition, which also needs to be in place, is then you in that example making a mistake and harming that person.
But no matter where this harm comes from, if it comes from karma or from me making a mistake, what would he recommend to do in a situation like this? How can we reconcile with this person, for example? What would be the step to help the situation?
So it's the example of having a good intention and making a mistake and then harming someone, right? That's
the person is still harmed. So what
Yeah.
can we do now to get a better relation with this person?
Then nitsi din na nangshin chung sona kong spring long sampo la tene no tulche then mishemba nitsi chiba ina then ngatsu kulong dukcha yamarwa no tul ine
no chon sa
then kan des kase mi kase dungel nyong yoro la tene de kan des da
ji ken gar re
mare ngatsu kaisa how can I say dann mi shemba dan yamdu yorwa o not we show song kong dungel nyong yore da kare jire kong mi shemba nutsi
ale tel tapshi kar che go le ta te tapshi kat mel tan no se ta nga so gonda je ando de che so na le telo ate chi man ri salen jo sha che an pento che kari che kyo na che re ma ta le kat che chawi ji le to shlo ja kyo ni yo ma ten ji te chu ni she
yeah, of course we can't turn back the time. I mean, not undo the harm, but I mean, what we do normally, we can say sorry and try to make it up for it. But I mean, you can't take back that action.
non tri short sa na te me pa so ta ni yo ma
Yeah. Once the harm is done, you can't undo it, right?
That's Dina.
I just want to share something. I think when we are speaking in the term of sadness and depression, it's really important because normally people that have depression are normally look for faults on their own and not on others. So I think it's more important to say, okay, we need to find the cause and the source of the problem and find a solution, than think of other beings, other sentient beings suffer more than us. So because that could easier create the thing, okay, I will ignore my problem. But for example, if we are like bullied at work or at school, so that won't stop the problem itself. So we have to find a solution for the problem. Because also the bully gets, each time he bullies us, gets always negative karma for it. So we also have to find a solution to stop not just the harm for ourselves, but also the negative karma for the other person. And so I would emphasize it's more important to find a cause and the solution, find a cause and then find a solution for the problem, than to think of the suffering and every other beings. That we, of course, it's like for our mindsets, it's important to see it in a good perspective, but also find a solution for it.
So that's the main point. You're saying when we are depressed, we should rather look for the cause of it in ourselves.
And
Other
don't
than
look in the perspective that other people are
Yeah.
suffering more, because that won't help in the when we are actually suffering in the moment right now, because we are not that high in the path we can achieve the state.
Kung kasi sige sa nang yimok, ro mi ding nupchope nang mi mangbo sem kyubo chagre during bola yimok.
Tang Kinsol River Chetro. Simba Macham.
Yo kibo shirameba da kala sa yo da nangla de ducha tha samlo tang ani konsig rusana dine kasa 니모키 샘키 칸키 유 카바요 다메디 콜라 삼나 탄고 그래 아니
다 나중에 셰피 녀몽고 코린지라.
요모 수수케 샘낭라 타그레 미셴바기 디 게스라 디스날라 숨바낭신 디 마인바 미셴바기 돈 망와요레 디 수수 당로라 키셈 다다보타 아니 규 니모키 규 카리 다음에 중공 카바의 다음에 디 타그레 세규레 탁치치규레 아니 뉴타 카리 중규의 다음에 디기 메파조야 기탑 세규레 고규레 세규르스
다 메파 사와니 지하는 아주 단전다 또 가니 가자시요라. 나도 칼리 카폰지리 단당이 콜 시대야 또 교소 약보라만초 참마 소소가 셈장당레면 그 절로고 깨셔지 싸워니니 말이 소소가 셈 던지지나 소소셈을 뽑았다 소소셈 끼포 차인 거리 셈 끼포 차나 세이날 유무케 말와 들투닝 아키완도 드리지나 알아 제완도 드리지나 약본도 산네 소소가 끼포 연데 몽보치 야삼로 타나 소소가 셈 끼린조라 셈 야긴조라 Gonding she dead some so semi agindro kitchenro ymat pashol chinjend chigwaz chimaro. Tindi samlo tan chomombo chilita on di so yapocha dewa haku so ngonze cheto kor. Ni semshi chagamare. Semjum gomare. So the shuchi mashi zatsana shartina tani semshi chani nyopto cha revami kaina tsukbaz ramra yungre. Temato jen dance yashina rentro kabro.
이게 디초 유초
다기시에 대하서 파쇼식을 교서 싸움마더니 소소를 먼저 제약 답람 레지 도츠 두나 소소테 약본지를 레데오레 망고 마카시 고야타 예탄치 고야타 강이 소소 예탄치 고요 마레스 소소 약보렌도 아세 소소 콘셉트 소소 하고만도스 틴지기 답람 글랍자레 간드죠 니 싸움로 당요사레 란초스마이 What?
Yeah, Suzuki,
So samlo yaji tangora. Samlo yaji tang so yaji tang samlo tang sa ji gora ngan jikindu sam ji gora wa. Tetagi tsama shia tsama ngan jikindu sam samlo tang itablam re. Tel tsa samlo tang gora mu pa shol pa samlo tang yo mar. Kenso ya boji gna le nga de yos. Gori ya nga ya boji le ndus. Panjo ya njik ta chan dus. Ani na tsan ro so ya ta chore si data dukyal tana. Ta tsama ro njugni dewo na semshik leg ro wa. So teyan jigmundu samna ani semshik chawang gori tanda gawni shia tsama ngi tamlam tinggal shia.
Well, I don't know if I can capture it, if that, anyway, I try. So, I mean, what Geshe says is all, I mean, the main thing, what it all comes down to is the self-grasping, what we hear a lot in Buddhism, but that's, of course, it's a bit difficult now to go more into in detail. But yeah, that's the main source of all the problems. And it's really, also, I think Geshe also meant it, that to say that, you know, it's all to do with ourselves and looking in our mind, in our own minds. And, you know, trying various means to, you know, achieve a more happy mind, which then, you know, goes against depression and whatnot. And, you know, by the way we think and by recognizing, appreciating good qualities, good, you know, the positive sides, we'll be able to improve, as it were, our minds. And it's all to do with the way of we think. You know, thinking this is okay. We are actually in a good place here in society. We are in a good environment. You know, health-wise it's fine, or you know, money-wise it's okay. You know, to rather focus, see it all in our own situation in a more positive light, and thereby increase confidence, which then goes against depression. I don't know if that kind of.
I think that's a nice theoretic concept, but if someone is in the pattern of depression already, I don't think this is helpful.
No, it's not enough, yeah.
Like,
if one is really severely depressed, yeah.
Like, I think there needs to be, like, just saying, oh yeah, just switch your perspective and your life will be nice, they wouldn't even listen. Because you're so stuck in this habit. So I think that's a bit the point he was talking about.
Yeah, konstaterer sen kisi mi ngane mystik de mi sipe semki natsa shiboyena yimok shiboyena dene tanda Geshe sumba nangshin konstaterer sen konsta togma ne nengyo samare mi chik be mi sipe semki shiboyena mi shemba kare lapcha
Kachal choni nyero mi.
Nengi mare a kya mi shemba konsola vaina a kyangi samlok des gyugere kyangene chena yapoyore dungel kasenyuta shiboyama konso nengi mare pengi mare segido min nepa shiboyana semki kan shiboyana
Ate karche goina te ham kwatri tunyong ai tunyo. Ina te Geshe nyero ma chena ni te kale ka kon randu. Ko zupuna tsandra menchu ro che or ko zupuna tsari de o mara sem gna tsar. Ta sem gna tsar ta nga so sem gu chu gore su korongo choni shi chi gya gore ni pa choni tel ro pa che. Ta je dang chi ko sem kam de te de ga tablam kan ri te and tendri yo. Atindi chi kan tu nyo da koro gasan ro tendri koro sa chimbo sa ro to so klap cha jam na te spe ta tendri ke me na ta te ka ko me te ka pon ro re. So koro gu chik sa chimbo sa ro tendri yo na ko so klap cha ro jam na pen sa tendri to nyo. Na tendri chi klam na chi kan na nye ro che ma re to koro gu sa chimbo ti lam na yo nye an tendri du. Ta tendri man ni lap cha sa ni nye ro ma che na ta te ka pon ro shi chi.
Yeah, of course, if someone really has that, you know, severe or really strong depression, then as it's a mental issue, not a physical one, which it can more easily be, you know, worked with. It's not easy, of course. But Geshe says, other than, you know, maybe for that person to speak to someone they really regard highly, you know, it's very precious or holy or whatever, you know, they have a really strong connection with, they might then listen to, that person's advice, but otherwise it's really difficult if someone has a severe problem of depression.
As Taina chitse chong so tene china. Really?
I think time is up, right?
Huh?
Yeah, shall we stop here?
Kali kasoi.
Are you tired?
La so tene ja chi ro.
Okay, then we leave it at here. We leave here.
Ka tin chi.
How do we stop this? This one. We stop recording button.